And it's here we go, and we are going right now. So, Kolby, let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay. Um, you can lead it first. I led it first yesterday, so.
Well, I went ahead and just was going over the footage, and like I was just telling you that, we were talking about Bronco fans have been putting, that are scared, how this season's going to go. But looking at the footage, I don't think this is a team that is unbeatable. They should beat the Broncos, but I mean, look at it. And the Broncos should be taking this whole week personal. They should be getting pissed off from the week. I'm going to study harder. I'm going to make sure I make that block. I'm not going to screw. You know what I'm saying? That's what I call getting pissed off when I play, is I'm focusing more. That's getting what I mean by getting pissed off. And Tampa, from their point of view, there's nothing to get excited about coming here. This isn't New Orleans. They're not coming to New Orleans. This is an interconference game. That works out for the Broncos. They got to fly all the way out here. It's just not that exciting for them. So if this should be one of those, Tampa Bay runs into a buzzsaw kind of a situation. That's my best case scenario. But like I said, yes, this is a game the Broncos probably should lose, but it's a game they can win. So give us your Tampa insights.
So I was watching some of the game last week when they were facing Carolina, I believe. And the one thing that scares me with this Tampa Bay team is the slot receiver, Scott Miller. He's a slot receiver for the team, just because of the fact that I don't think we have any corners that can cover him. He's your prototypical Tom Brady slot receiver. And another thing that scares me is the tight end position. I'm not really afraid of Rob Gronkowski, but I am afraid of the likes of O.J. Howard and Cameron Bray. I know that Bruce Arians in his vertical passing game doesn't use a lot of the tight end sets, but the one team that really struggles against tight ends, and everybody knows that around the NFL, is the Denver Broncos.
Bingo.
Yep. And so I don't think that we have the linebackers to cover them, just like we were talking about yesterday on the podcast. I don't think Josie Jewell and Alexander Johnson can cover those guys. On the defensive side of the football, I think that this game is going to come down to if we can get pressure up the middle with Tom Brady. He doesn't have that good of an offensive line in front of him, like he did in New England. And it's all going to come down to if Shelby Harris and Jarrell Casey and those type of players, the rotational players, can get pressure on Tom Brady. And I don't think we will be able to do that because I haven't seen any evidence this year that we can get pressure up the middle. And what Tom Brady, what he likes to do is he likes to dance around in the pocket, and he's a traditional pocket passer.
Yeah.
He's not going to beat you with your legs.
No.
So stuff like that. And we just have to watch out for Scott Miller. In my personal opinion, I would put Justin Simmons on him because I think he has the athletic ability, and I'm a big fan of Justin Simmons as a free safety. So I would try and figure out a way to put Justin Simmons on Scott Miller, so I would keep an eye on him on the defense side of football.
Well, all the Fangio critics, maybe this is a game they can really take away if they don't match up correctly. However, this is supposedly what Fangio does do is make, he's kind of a Belichick-y kind of guy, making the best with the personnel that he has matching up. So we'll definitely take a look at the matchups defensively for the Broncos for sure.
Yeah. So transitioning over to the offensive side of the football, I know that the Tampa Bay defense isn't as good as the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, but they do have players on that defense. I'm not going to discredit.
Dominican Sue.
Yeah, Dominican Sue, Vita Vea. Shaquille Barrett's going to be returning, former Bronco.
Come on.
And he's going to be going against our great right tackle, Elijah Wilkinson. We'll see how that goes.
God.
But I think this game is going to come down to the turnover battle. If Denver can get some turnovers and if they can score more than 14 points a game against this really good Tampa Bay defense, and I'm not saying that they're the best defense in the NFL, but they are a good defense. And I think what they're going to do to this offense is they're going to take a playbook of what the Pittsburgh Steelers did in the second half of that game. They're going to blitz. They're going to blitz a ton because we don't have the offensive line that can contain, and we don't have a really good pass blocking offensive line, and they're going to just take a playbook of what the Steelers did. They're going to blitz, 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 and Todd Bowles is a very schematic defense coordinator when it comes to blitzing. So we just have to watch out about the blitzing from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have really good linebackers in Devin White and Levante David that we need to keep an eye on. But I think what we need to do is we got to get these receivers. We got to get Noah Fant hot and ready here. Noah Fant needs to be ready to go in this game. Jerry Jeudy needs to get going, and Melvin Gordon needs to get going.
You're a starter now, buddy, for real.
No dropping the football. No dropping the football. You need to do what you were drafted to do, is catch the football and get open with your route running ability.
Yeah. And I like Driscoll. I think he proved in the Pittsburgh game that he can definitely deliver a dart. So it's going to be breezy. It's going to be gusty there. So there's always a chance that you're not going to get the long punting, the long kicking for the field goal because it's supposed to be pretty gusty. That could also, Brady is the quarterback throwing the INTs, but with the gusts, like you said, if one throws, let's say, our guy Driscoll throws an interception, hopefully we'll get that back with a Brady interception and it equalizes out. But I do want to say something about matchups. So we were talking about defense. I want to talk about the offensive matchups. And I'm a line kind of guy, talking about the O-line. I want to talk about Munchak. We want to see what kind of scheme blocking scheme Munchak puts in for this blitz. That blitz can also work against the defense as well as for defense. Now, if Munchak is as advertised, we run correctly at the right time to counter these blitzes, also throw at the right time. This is going to be, what for me is a mixture of run and pass at the right time. Really, this is much more of a balance than last game because it's a different type of defense. It's not all front loaded, So you can run the ball on this team, but you gotta, if you watch that Carolina, you notice that Carolina actually figured out their blocking schemes as the game went on, and they were starting to have success with that. Munchak's got to have that figured out. And again, I brought this up last year. I judge coaches not about the whistle and the timeouts. How do you make adjustments? How do you make adjustments, with, for instance, route running, with blocking assignments, with changing guys up, because they'll throw something at you and it'll work for a while. How do you counter that?
Yeah.
So these adjustments, this is going to be a game of adjustments for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, and this is what I like about Pat Shurmur. He does make adjustments at halftime. You saw that last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He got Noah Fant involved in the second half. And I know a lot of people say that Pat Shurmur is not getting Noah Fant involved more. I think it's the defense is realizing that his ability and what he can do is very special. And I Noah Fant, to me, is going to be one of those tight ends is that he's going to make a lot of mismatches against certain defenses. A lot of people say that, Pat Shurmur's not getting him involved. The defenses know that, Cortland Sutton's hurt. Who else are you going to throw it to? You're going to throw it to two rookie receivers? They're rookie receivers. You have a second-year tight end in Noah Fant who has all the ability in the world, who can win games for you and who can do a lot for your quarterback. So it just depends on, like you said, the scheme of what Mike Munchak's going to do. You brought Graham Glasgow in for a reason. Why don't you utilize him? He's a great run blocker. You have Roy Cushenberry. You have Dalton Reisner. Utilize that front three and don't rely on Garrett Bowles and Elijah Wilkinson a lot in this game.
Yeah, you want to center that focus. Yeah, I know you don't like Bowles. I don't know. This is a sad thing. When you look at the Broncos offensive line, it's like Bowles looks great. When you look at the right tackle, that's how sad the situation is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. The reason why I'm not a big fan of Garrett Bowles is because
well, nobody is.
Well, the reason I hound on him a lot is because I see the ability that he has. I see the ability. He's very athletic. He's a very strong left tackle, and you could see that when he tackles people to the ground. And that's his technique is where I have an issue with it. His technique. He doesn't have the technique of a left tackle. Now, I could say, well, he hasn't played a lot of football. When he came out of Utah, he didn't play a lot of football. And when he's been in Denver, he's had a lot of offensive line coaches, and Mike Munchak has been the true offensive line coach that he has needed for his progression. But you're a pro, you're a first-round pick. That's not on you. That's on management. Another Elway move that we've talked about.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go off topic, but another thing is, why the heck did you bring in DeMar Dotson? That's another guy we didn't talk about yesterday. That guy's been in the league for 10 years, 11 years. And he's a true right tackle. Yes, he isn't a great run blocking right tackle, but he's a good, solid right tackle who played for Tampa Bay for a very long time. And maybe DeMar Dotson can give the Broncos some insight on what Tampa Bay likes to do, because he played for Tampa Bay last year.
Yes.
So he could probably give some of the insight of what their defense likes to do. He went and gets Shaq Barrett every day at practice. Maybe help this team on, hey, this is what Shaq Barrett loves to do coming off the edge. So
I'm very interested to see if he gets playing time.
Yeah. I just
game management, game strategies management.
Yes. So it's
when did they sign? When was he signed?
It was in training camp. It had to be because.
So this was a while ago.
Yeah, this was a while ago. So
we still haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just, you brought in a 6'9" right tackle who's been in the league for 10, 11 years, and I'm just confused on why you keep trotting out a guard at right tackle. Sweet guard.
He knows where the bodies are buried.
It's really just laughable. And I'm not saying that it's his fault that Drew Lock got hurt last week. I'm not going to put all the blame on him, because, like I said yesterday, Drew Lock was trying
no hell. I mean, he had no. You didn't have a chance. I mean, that was instantaneous.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of I really want to see what this offense does against this defense tomorrow, and I really want to see what Vic Fangio can game plan against Scott Miller, because everybody's focused on Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, but they're not talking about Scotty Miller. And
their fan base really likes him. The fan base, they talk about him.
Yep. And here in Denver, we don't know much about him. So I'm just trying to be like, hey, keep an eye on this slot receiver, Scotty Miller. He's your prototypical Brady receiver. He's a great route runner. He can get open. So I'm just saying, like, stuff like that. And I really want to see what Jarrell Casey does against this offensive line. So we brought him in for a reason. Let's see what he can do.
If Brady would do anything, it would be pick on our linebackers. I mean, that's definitely.
He did that last time when he was in Denver. He did that last time. He picked on Corey Nelson and Brandon Marshall. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Our linebackers, everybody said, "Oh, Alexander's the next Al Wilson." I've heard that from a lot of people, and I'm like, Al Wilson was a special type of linebacker.
Yes.
Al Wilson was very special.
He's old school. He was old school.
Yep.
Old school.
Alexander Johnson isn't that type of player. I'm sorry. Alexander Johnson to me is better than Todd Davis, not by a lot, not by a whole lot. He has a lot more length, but he doesn't really run very well. Neither does Josie Jewell. So I believe they're going to pick apart. I think you're right. Brady's going to pick apart this linebacking this weekend.
I've warned that all last year. You got to do something about that linebacking, and Sports Talk Radio wouldn't address that. It. So
because Todd Davis is a good player.
Oh yeah, Todd. Oh yeah. I didn't know what I was talking about. I had no clue.
Yeah.
Talking about.
Yeah.
Well, to me, those linebackers, Johnson and Davis, were like rotational guys. You bring them in, they're fine with the team that wants to run the ball is short, or it's a running play, this kind of thing. That's fine.
It's like Tennessee, against a team like Tennessee. Like a team like that who runs the football and play action pass. Though I'm telling you, like Todd Davis and Alexander Johnson will be really good in that game because Tennessee relies on the run, so they're not relying on the pass. So, and I would also bring this up. I know our run defense is okay. I think our run defense is okay. It's like nothing to write home about. But
Yeah.
Leonard Fournette, people have
Oh,
to forget.
yeah.
Leonard Fournette ran like 200 and some yards against us last year. So keep an eye on Leonard Fournette as well, because we can't forget about what he did when he was in Jacksonville against us.
Oh, I'm sure they're key to that one. Yeah.
Yep.
That may have helped him in the for this game more than people think, is that Fournette. But Brady's like, I'm not really worried about the pass rush with this. They've got soft linebacking. That's what I'm saying. If the one thing going for the Broncos, if you're Tampa, you probably figured you already won this game. You got to come out here, though. That helps your team, but it won't. If the Broncos are like these fans, like, oh, we're gonna get beat 68-3, they're gonna get beat 68-3 if they come in with that attitude. But if they're pissed off, thinking, God damn it, this, that, we should have, and whatever, and we didn't, and they're just like, I'm focusing because I'm so upset. I want to see what their tone is, the Broncos' tone when they come in. This I don't want to. I won't tolerate it.
Are they gonna excuse me? Are they gonna come out tomorrow? Be the first punchers? Are they gonna come out swinging, or are they gonna come out with their tails between their legs?
Well, that's how the first swingers. That's how I thought they did with Pittsburgh. They came right out throwing right off the bat. This is way we're gonna beat you over the top. And you notice that none of the Steeler fans came back, because our backup quarterback damn near won that game going over the top, despite 6 sacks. I know they got 7, but I mean, that drive, they only had 6. Well, even with 6 sacks, we were still throwing the ball on them. That was my point all along to them. I said, your front seven, or your front seven, that's where your bread and butter is. You got those sacks, but we're still coming over the top with our backup. That's why nobody came back to say you were totally wrong.
Yep, and that's because I led that too. I was people that are, my friends and everything, and I said the exact same thing. I'm like, yeah, Pittsburgh has a good defensive front, but you can pass on this team.
You can.
You can pass easily on this team, and look what happened. You saw Noah Fant have a great second half. You saw Melvin Gordon catch that beautiful pass from Jeff Driscoll. And I think a lot of people don't. You brought in Blake Bortles, and we didn't talk about this at all. It's just another one of Elway's things. Like, I understand.
I know.
It's like why you exactly you brought in Blake Bortles, who there's a reason why he's a free agent, because nobody wants him. And I get it. It was probably for insurance policy until Locke gets back, but we don't know how long that's going to be. So I don't understand that move. I think Jeff Driscoll is a very underrated player in the fact that he fits the scheme, and Sherman knows how to utilize it.
I think they like Driscoll. I do. But they're
exactly
that if Driscoll goes down, then they've got nothing after that.
There's a reason why they gave him like a 2 or 3 year deal in free agency, because Pat Shurmur likes him. That was a Pat Shurmur move all the way. That wasn't an Elway move. That was a Pat Shurmur move. And I like Driscoll because he's kind of like Drew Lock. He has the arm. He doesn't have nearly the arm strength that Lock does, but he has the mobility. You saw that on display last Sunday.
Believe it or not, I think he's very Brady-like.
Exactly.
He's smart. He's a very intelligent guy.
And people are going to blame him for that sack of the Steelers. That was a missed assignment from Melvin Gordon.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
Was a missed assignment.
Yeah, video doesn't lie.
And I hear in this whole week, Sports Talk Radio has been saying, "Oh, he can't sense pressure." I'm like, just because of that one. When they're going to send 8-9 guys in the box and your offensive line is terrible as is, what is your quarterback going to do? Heave it up and throw a pick? He
did a great job. He did, because we're talking all the sacks. It wasn't all on him.
It wasn't.
Some of it was. But considering they just threw him in there. I mean, he's basically off the street. Okay, when you think about it, I mean, he was, running drills with the defense. I mean, he had no reps other than that. He's essentially off the street. He didn't have no preseason or anything. I mean, you can't sit there and cut him down when they were in a hole. He dug him out of a hole with these sacks too, all that, and still.
Exactly. It's just it's like you said, you want to pull your hair out when you hear people talk about how the season's over because Locke is done. We're gonna tank for Trevor. I don't know if you've looked at article. You can already see people are already talking about that, and it's just
the sports talk radio primed the pump.
Exactly, and I'm just like
about Bortles, but just really quick, Bortles.
Sorry.
No, when I heard they were bringing Bortles in, the first, I didn't even think Bortles. What came to my mind is you have no confidence in your offensive line. That's the first thing that came to mind because you're fishing. You're already desperate to get somebody because you think you're going to get this guy killed because you have no and why are we still having offensive line problems when it goes all the way back to Peyton Manning? Why?
Because they ignore that position. Elway thinks that a quarterback is gonna be the offensive line for this team, and it's not. You saw when Prescott was a rookie in the NFL, and he had that great rookie year.
Yes,
he had a great offensive line in front of him with Tyron Smith, Ron Leary, Travis Frederick, Zach Martin, Landon Collins.
Leary and his
really good offensive linemen, and that's what Dallas builds. I'm not going to talk about Dallas, but
no, Dallas does do that. That's their philosophy. Yes,
exactly.
It's not bad. It's
exactly.
The Patriots do that,
and that's what Pat Bowlen lived off of too. That's when you had Chris Cooper, a really good player. You had all these other players, Ryan Clady when he wasn't hurt all the time. You had all these really good offensive linemen under Pat Bowlen because he knew the philosophy of how to win games from the ground up.
Yeah,
from the ground up on the offense and defensive side of the football.
Indianapolis is doing that too, building from the lines out. Obviously, you know who does that is the Ravens. They're a big lines type mentality. Now San Francisco, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, exactly. And like you saw the difference when Joe Flacco was there and when Joe Flacco came here. He was a statue. Of course, you've got to build a freaking offensive line in front of him. Why do you think Lamar Jackson's having all this success?
Exactly. And you know what? It's not bad. And I made this point with Broncos going all the way to Kyle Orton. I was actually very happy they got Kyle Orton because I said, what you do is you build this team around him. He was Drew